Welcome to the Pitmaster Podcast. We're barbecue competition competitors that aim to share information, advice, tips, and tall tales about our favorite pastime. Head over to thepitmasterpodcast.com for all things Pitmasters, or follow us on your favorite social media platform. And now, here are the hosts of the Pitmaster Podcast, the two-time grand champion, SCA World Champion finalist, and barbecue specialist of Smoke Ain't No Joke Barbecue, the Anthony Lujan, and the 24-time grand and reserve grand champion, reserve world grand champion, Windover High Roller champion, and the founder of Pitmaster Barbecue Supply Company stores in Utah, the old man himself from Big Johnson's Barbecue, Jesse Johnson.
This is Greg Rempe from the Barbecue Central Show, and you are listening to the Pitmasters Podcast, and they are doing it live.
We'll do it live.
That's right, Bill. I just said that. They're going to do it live.
We'll do it live.
Yes, live. They're going to do it live.
What up, Pitmasters? Live on a Tuesday night again. We have a special guest tonight. We have Smitty with Loot N Booty BBQ.
Yep.
So, you super excited about this one, Jesse?
I am. Sterling's an old-time friend. We've known each other for decades. So
right. We'll get into it. We'll hear everything about what he's up to, see if he's going to plan on going out and crushing everybody's souls again on the barbecue trail and all the good stuff.
Yeah. He's tough to beat when he's on a roll, baby.
Right. Exactly. So what's up with new with you, man?
Nah, just getting things rolling. Got the remodel about halfway finished at the Pitmaster Supply Company in Layton. And then the build out for the 5 Points location is underway. They have to be ready by May 24th. That's the next backyard barbecue competition. And then in June, we got the 20th and 21st, we got the Norute State Championships. And then in August, we're going to do a Utah Barbecue Association sanctioned pro event at Blue Compass RV. And I will post those dates right after the podcast. So if you go to the Great Western Barbecue events, it'll be posted right there, and I'll send them over to you for the Pitmaster Podcast website as well.
Sweet. And then, yeah, you had a backyard competition this weekend. We had Surefire Barbecue taking down the GC, and then the RGC went to, was it Wild West Barbecue, correct?
Yeah, another RGC for Wild West Barbecue. They were only 4 points out of the GC, but the funny thing is, in the two meets that we had, every competitor, every winner was a different call. So guys that got third, second, and first in chicken didn't get calls in ribs. So that's why there was a disparity on the points. And we got a perfect score. Jared O'Brien from K-Town got a perfect score in ribs. That was awesome. Nice. And you know, some of the guys knew that their ribs were a little tight, and then some of the chicken was not good, and some was great. So
I guess that's the beauty of hosting a barbecue event or backyard event, right? So these guys can work out all their kinks and twists and all that stuff.
Started out the morning when they all showed up at 6 a.m. at 28 degrees, and by the time we got to turn-ins, it was short weather. Yeah. So, welcome to April in Utah, baby.
Right. Well, cool. Yeah. And then just if you're planning on kicking out west, just visit the SCA site to get signed up for all those state competitions, and then also visit the KCBS site to see those KCBS events. Yeah. And make sure you just get signed up. We are really struggling to be able to get people to sign up early. As a promoter, you completely understand. Sign up quickly.
It's brutal.
At least get your name on there so we can make sure.
I think we've already got 10. We got 10 teams for Norute already, so that's going well. We just got to get to 25 to make that a qualifier. And then obviously got Blazer 47 in July. And then we're going to have the Blue Compass RV barbecue comp in August. That'll be a pro event. So we're going to have, I know we have $5,000 in prize money for that event right now. Norute 6,500. I think Blazer 47 is $20,000. So
wow, nice.
Yep. Got some money out there, guys.
Yeah, but I wonder if Smitty will pop up. We'll see. We'll ask him. But
I'll bring him. I'll bring him a GMG and a Gateway, or a couple of each.
He's good to go. Yep. Cool. Let's go talk to him and let's see what he's been up to, man.
Let's do it.
We call it Thermapen 1, the first true 1-second cooking thermometer. Its unprecedented speed means Thermapen 1's responsiveness approaches the speed of thought. Because when you're plating the perfect menu, or smoking the perfect side of barbecue, you don't have time to think about how your instant read thermometer is accurate to 0.5 degrees in 1 second or less, or how rugged and waterproof it is, or how big, elegant and bright the backlit display is. You'll just know it works, because our perfection powers your perfection. Seek perfection with Thermapen 1.
What up, Smitty? How's it going, man?
Hey, man. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Good, man. Good to have you on here.
That was a legit commercial, man. That was like professionally done. Like that was like real deal.
Yeah,
Wait till you see the GMG ads that we're creating for Pitmasters. We're gonna be the sponsor for the podcast. I'm
Real deal production.
I'm waiting on the 2 Jasons to get me some production stuff done, and then we can be
Oh yeah.
full on sponsor for the Pitmaster podcast as well.
And you should see some of those like early GMG videos and the production we had on those, man. Those were legendary.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm checking out your little offset you have over your shoulder, man. That seems like it's
This is a backyard jambo.
Yeah, that's awesome.
My backyard
man.
jambo I got on Craigslist here as a find. I was trolling Craigslist for grills, which I find myself often doing.
Right.
How much did you get it for?
I got it like just under 400.
400?
For the hour.
Oh,
For a backyard?
It was a 3900, something like that. It's got like cool ass like rims on it. It's got round grate.
Gotcha.
It's got the basket. Yeah, it's like
Because the backyard one was only 12.
It's like on the golf cart rims with like the SS,
Nice.
the black rims. It looks bad. You can't see it. The ping pong tables anyway.
Yeah, we got a couple.
Backyard oasis.
We got a couple of the Able barbecue pits on the lots that are 48-inch offsets with a 30-inch box, and we're brand new for 4,600. And then I've got a big trailer close pit sitting on the lot right now. Somebody's come down and check it and get that off my lot.
That's crazy, man. I have in this backyard right here. You can't see a lot of it, but sitting here, I have my eyeball on close to 30 grills.
Nice.
Vicinity,
that's awesome.
And I got several in the garage. We got storage units here and there.
It's so funny. People walk into the Leighton store and they go, "Do you guys sell grills?" And they just walk by 10 of them out under the awning. and like, just a little bit.
It's kind of what we do.
Yeah, it's funny. People are funny.
They are.
They are.
Well, man, let's just hit the rewind button for the people that live under a rock. Let's let them know who you are and how you got into this barbecue.
Oh man, that's like a story beyond its own. So it's been, I mean, I don't know, barbecue. How did I start in barbecue? I mean, I was born in Memphis, Tennessee. I was raised in the South, Mississippi, Florida, Georgia. Kind of knew barbecue, but we don't know competition barbecue is a whole other thing. And then after high school, I joined the Navy, and after the Navy, I put myself through college with the GI Bill at Arizona State University. Go Devils! And and I started after I got a degree in finance, so I started working in banking and small business lending, commercial lending, equipment financing, all that kind of stuff. And eventually, a bank out of Kansas City moved to Scottsdale, Arizona, opened a private wealth management and a commercial banking unit here in Scottsdale, and they recruited me over to work in their small business banking, lending, and heading up that group. And so the bank's based out of Kansas City. It's the biggest sponsor of the American Royal. You see their stuff everywhere at the American Royal, UMB Bank. It's United Missouri Bank. And so they had a time and what they do every year, being a big sponsor of the American Royal, they hold an employee barbecue competition in Kansas City. And at the time when I worked for them, it was down at Kemper Arena, and down in the West Bottoms before it moved to the stadium. Well,
the old school.
Exactly, the old school spot before it moved to it was the Royals and the Chiefs Stadium for one, and then we moved to the
Raceway. Yeah, you were always in the dark side, weren't you?
I did 1 year there. So my first year at the Royal was the last year was at the West Bottoms. So, but let's go back to 2007. This was when I worked for this bank, and they had an employee barbecue competition. And so and they've been having this for years. And whoever wins, they sponsor in the American Royal. Nice. So, they reached out after we opened a branch, they reached out to the Arizona group because, you know, they have branches in Colorado. They have the trust department, this department, all these departments form together. And it's a big employee event. And they have bands that are playing and Boulevard Beer out there. It's an awesome event. So they reached out to, you know, us in Arizona and said, hey, we have this all employee barbecue competition. Would Arizona like to field a team of barbecue competitors to come to this, you know, event? And, you know, they reached out to everybody and I was like, man, I cook in my backyard steaks and burgers. I like the grill. I like the barbecue. Sure. I'll go out there. And, you know, so we go out for this event and it's at, you know, the West Bottoms and Kipper Arena. We see people out there with full on RVs and smokers and they got setups and parties and it was a whole thing. And I was like, holy shit, this is the thing. People do this like outside of their normal thing. It's not just for here because some of those teams, they're from Kansas City. They live for a long time. They compete the Royal for years, you know?
Yeah.
So I just found it like, oh my God, this is cool. And they brought me a brisket. It was like 15 pounds. I was like, what the fuck do I do with this? You know, like I don't even know where to start. You know, I thought we were cooking steaks and some chicken wings, you know, shit like
no
that
idea.
in the backyard. Before I had this Jambo sitting here, I got a propane burner from Kmart, you know, like the, you know, barbecue on. So, you know, after that event, and this is 2007, you know, I came back to Phoenix and I started Googling, researching everything, the Arizona barbecue competitions. Is that a thing here? Like, why is this a thing? And all this stuff came up. AZ Barbecue. I find, you know, Mike Ryman with AZ Barbecue.
Yep.
Okay. He said, yeah, you know, I just probably send him a message. He's like, I'm kind of infatuated with this. What do I do? You know, and he's like, oh, we have a club, we have events, check out our website. You know, first thing I did when I got home, I went to Home Depot and got a $40 Brinkman smoker, you know what I'm saying, with like the cold, ideal, and hot. There's no airflow on this thing. I bought a big bag of mesquite wood, some lighter fluid, and you know, I went and bought a pork butt. Yeah, you know, that was barbecue. And you know, a pork butt. I invited my in-laws over and made the worst piece of meat ever. This thing was chugging smoke. Like I was like, oh, and then stopped smoking. I'm like, we're not doing it right. I need more smoke. So I was just like, over. There's like a fire department not too far from here. I'm surprised they didn't shut me down. But it was the worst piece of meat I ever made in life. And I was like, okay, you got to do it better. There's a better way to do this. And I obviously didn't do it right. And, you know, eventually I just started more into it, got into the club. They had little events here, like a rib throwdown or a chicken event. You meet some people. Then eventually in 2000, I think it was like 8, 9. I said to start a team, man. I said we were ready to do this. Me and my buddy Chris Rudy at the time, you know, back in the day, he cooked with me for a long time. We started Loot N Booty BBQ, and we were in this backyard in monsoon rains with like 2 WSMs and a Pro Q smoker, getting smoke, like trying to cook a brisket, figuring out how it doesn't become leather every time we cook it. You know, like what are we doing wrong? And then we said, you know what? Let's enter a comp. 2009, Loot N Booty was born, and we had 2 comps in 2009. An IBCA comp in Brisket, Arizona was our first comp. It was like chicken, ribs, like strips of pork. It was like different pork roll and brisket. And we got a call in like chicken and ribs, and we're like, holy shit, you
guys are hooked.
Crushing
as soon as you get that call.
This is our new thing, you know. Boom. From there. So we got 2 calls, you know, it's an IBCA comp, a local thing. The next comp was in Tempe, Arizona at Barbecue Island. And it was, Crash and Lisa were there. Awesome, from Hawaii Barbecue. We'll talk about them soon. Awesome people. But the next comp we did was the one in Tempe, Arizona at Barbecue Island. And we didn't know KCBS. We didn't know what points were. We didn't know people chasing all this stuff. So it was in December. And so it was one of the last events of the year. So I smell Smokes there, and, you know, Rod Gray's there, and all these big teams that we don't even know what any of this stuff. Yeah. And we get humbled real quick. You know, we got 2 calls, and then we were like, okay, these are real deal cats. You know, we were in the bottom low, no calls. We were like, you know, after that we're gonna sell everything. But you know, it didn't happen. We kept on. But you know, eventually, man, over time, a passion and a hobby became a career. It became, you know, not only a career but a legacy for my family. You know, which is really cool.
That's
cool.
That is awesome, man. That's a
Cheers
great
to that.
story. Yeah, cheers to that.
There's some great teams out of Arizona.
Oh man, we've had a decade, but even before me.
Yeah.
I mean, one of my early cats that I looked up to and helped me a lot was Jaybird.
Yep. Jaybird.
Yeah. He was one of like the OG cats who I really talked to, and he taught me about the feel. You know, hey, how's it feel? Don't worry about temperature. How's it feel? So Otis and the Bird, Jaybird from Otis and the Bird was one of the OG cats who, you know, I looked up to and I saw there. Obviously, Vince from Rhythm MQ has been, crushing it for years. He's been a staple in the
still
Arizona
rolling in the
barbecue
minivan
community. Like, fuck, he's OG legend.
Yep.
Even like I came up watching like sweet peppers from New Mexico. You know, Adrian and Jim were big, people that we looked up to that were doing it and that were crushing it. So, back then there were a lot of cats that were like, oh man, these guys are badass. So, it made me want to get better. Obviously, seeing people win makes you want to get better, makes you want to do better. And like I said, when a passion and a hobby becomes something you want to put more into and invest time, invest energy, invest love, then results are going to happen.
Right. Then you team up with Phil and Kyle, and you guys go out and do your things on the road. You guys cook your ass off, and then also have a great time doing it, right?
Well, what was cool about that was like COVID. That was like right around 2019, and 2020 is when kind of we got into that. And honestly, it was weird. Like at that time, and we all know how barbecue is. It's a roller coaster. There's years you're on top and they love your shit. And then they months you go to comps and they're like, you're trying to find a call. It happens in all of us. Mm-hmm. I think that comes with just, being infatuated with making it perfect. You're trying things and doing this and doing that, but sometimes you just need to get back to basics.
Yeah,
it's hard for me.
Last time we saw you, and you had Phil the Grill, and we had everybody from Snake River was out at Windover, and I think it was 2019 was last year that comp was on. COVID killed it, but that was
a great event.
Yeah, that was a fun party.
Besides that drive from like southern Nevada, there's like zombies for real. There's like zombies that live out on the road there that will eat. You can't stop. Stop. Your brain is getting eaten by some like Nevada zombie on the desert. So it's not fun. Right. That drive's terrible. But no, I love that event. It was great. They did a great job.
Remember, we ate like kings out there. Anella brought out some. I think it was fillets that she brought out from Snake River, the full-on Wagyu fillet. She brought out like $3,000 in fillets, and we ate them one night, and then we had tacos the next night. It was like off the hook.
We always eat well, when Snake River Farms is around. Absolutely. Yep. But so that was around 2009, 2020, and honestly, at that time in my barbecue career, I was kind of like I don't know if it happens to everybody, but it happened to me. Was you work so much into it, you invest time and energy, and if you don't get the results, sometimes you get upset, and you're like, oh man, that's kind of sucked. You dwell on it, and you're like, why am I even doing this? And then, what was cool is when I got to cooking with YSB, and we created that team just to go out and do an event together in Humble, Texas, just for the hell of it, because nothing else is going on. It kind of just revigorated me in barbecue, because I got to have a good time, bullshit with my boys, We all talk shit about each other. We have a good time, but we focused on, what we're there to focus on.
Right.
And but at the end of the day, it was fun. It was relaxing. It got me back to enjoying kind of competition barbecue and making sure that I still enjoy it as a hobby and not a job.
Right.
Even though barbecue's become my career, I want to think of it as, this is still fun and fun for me to go out and do this, I think that really helped.
What pits are you cooking on now these days?
Gateway Drum Smokers, Green Mountain Grills has been an amazing sponsor of mine for several years. I really love the combo of both. And, really working with Jason. Jason at Green Mountain Grills has been family. Yeah, his family's amazing. They're a great company. They're, small family business. They believe in family.
Great pits, man. How did you get hooked up with Green Mountain?
Oh, man, this was over a decade ago.
Nice.
I started Barbecue Island here in town, local barbecue store, has 4 amazing locations. I've been doing a lot of work with them for several years. They let me use several grills to try out over the years, and a lot of pellet grills. And they gave me this GMG, this old school Davy Crockett. Davy Crockett. And, hey, try this out, see what you think of it. I started taking it to comps and cooking chicken on it. Oh, this is an awesome little chicken cooker. Boom, it fits a half pan. Boom, cover it up. Boom, I can put a little rack on it. It fits perfectly. I can set it. So this is the perfect little chicken cooker. So I started cooking chicken on it. And I cooked American Royal, going back to this story from 2007, cooking in the grounds of, Kemper Arena there, the West Bottoms. I started my team in 2009. I get a GC, a KCBS GC, in I guess it was 2013 season, 2014, whatever it was. Lake Havasu, 88 teams there. So I compete in the American Royal that following year. And I take reserve grand champion in the Open out of almost 500 teams. And 7 years ago, I was looking at a brisket on those 8 Browns, thinking, "What the hell is this piece of meat? I don't even know what to think of this, or how to even cook it."
Yeah.
So it was really cool to come full circle there and be there on a different level, to compete with everybody there. But Green Mountain Girls has been awesome. And Jason's here. He's a Sun Devil. He's an alumni. He lives here in Scottsdale. So he's been a friend and sponsor of mine for over a decade, and getting to know the family and the company. We've all seen struggles in the barbecue industry, but just to stay strong as a small company, as a family-owned company, and continue to support barbecue, it says a lot.
Yep. Yeah. Speaking of friends, we had Phil on the show last week, and he said since you're on the show, he told me to ask you one question. He said you're going to tell the story. You're going to tell the story. He says it's going to be a great story, but he told me just to tell you, in quotes, "You know what's up."
You know what's up.
Yeah.
You know what's up.
KWU. You know what's up.
What is the story
several
behind
stories
that?
with Phil the Grill, but this is a good one too, and I love You Know What's Up. I mean, you know how Phil is. I mean, he's straightforward. He's that Bronx attitude. That's, hey man,
Brooklyn boy.
He's amazing. And so we were at a comp in Cottonwood, Arizona, sitting around the fire pit. Everybody was doing their things. He went over to his site. I think he was cooking on a FEC 100 at the time. He went over to do his thing, do whatever. I'm sitting around the fireplace. Molly's there. Everybody's there, sitting there. He comes back, and he sits in the chair next to me. And I said, "Oh, so man, you got your pork on? You went over there and got your pork on?" He said, "Yeah, nah, you know what's up." Just like that. And but in Phil's way, "Yeah, no, you know what's up." And then I kind of looked at him and I was like, I mean,
no,
not really.
I don't know what's up.
Now I'm more confused than when we even started conversation. Like, should I know if that's what you did? First you said, "Yeah, nah," then "you know what's up." Basically, he said, like, I should know. So he put it on me. Like, he threw my question back on me. Like, you should know. You know what's up. I'm like, well, actually, I don't. That's why I asked you what was going on.
Help a brother out.
But YKWU, you know what's up, became a hashtag after he said that. And I was like, okay, you know what's up. That's what. So every time he asked me a question, I would say yes, no, you know what's up.
Got it.
I don't know.
That's awesome.
I don't know. I'm not gonna tell you, motherfucker.
Right.
That's basically what he said. No, but that's one of the many Phil the Grill stories.
That's classic Phil, though, right? He's
so classic. Phil.
He keeps you on your toes almost. You don't know his
100%. The laugh is there. You always know it's him. He's positive. He's excited. Yeah. He's out there doing his thing. Phil has been a great friend of mine for a long time. But you know what's up, man. That was a great story. I love that. I love that guy.
That is awesome, man. Well, let's talk a little bit about your rubs and sauces. I'm a big fan of the Jolly Roger.
Oh,
that is
yeah.
awesome.
Ooh, that's a good addition, man.
Yeah, it really is. And so what's going on with the rub game right now? Are you just kind of idle? You in development? What's
just came out with 2 of them that are
it.
Well, that's what we're trying to get to.
So what's going on? I've had my my staple rubs out there for a long time. So I worked with Old World Spices in the last year, and we developed Give Me the Loot spicy maple pecan rub, and Pirate's Pleasure. Thank you, man. It's Pirate's Pleasure, which is that sweet butter rum rub. And that one, which is a little different. It's not the same kind of salty forward. You got that little brown sugar peppery. It's a little different. It's got some milk powder in there, which gives it a little mellow, silky background, little butter notes in there. So it's very sweet, but also has that little back end little kick that it's got some spice. And so those came out last year, and those have been doing amazing. Those got into rotation. What's really cool recently on the rubs and spices is, with Old World Spices, my co-packer, me and everybody who's continued with their line have gotten into Home Depot recently at 900 plus locations. And so we have, a group of about 14 of us there. That's been amazing for our brand to get out there on those shelves. Ace Hardware has been phenomenal. They got close to 6,000 locations doing their thing. They've been great partner of mine. Speaking of Jolly Roger, Lowe's has picked up Jolly Roger on their set right there, and that's been quickly becoming one of the hottest selling rubs I have. Everything Rub was number one for a long time, and and looking at my reports, they made close to 40 tons last month of just everything for distribution. It was crazy to see it, and I had a spreadsheet, and you can see units, and you can take that units into volume weight and put it into pounds and units, and close to 40 tons is kind of crazy of that rub.
That's crazy.
And that rub has been a leader. That's been my number one seasoning from the get-go, and I think it sells a lot because it says everything on the bottle. People look at stuff. I'm not only going to cook beef and chicken. I'm cooking all kinds of stuff. Well, it says everything, so bam, grab it. And that's good. It works.
And I've actually crushed it. I've crushed it in competition with your Gold Star chicken.
That one's
I've been using that for a long time.
The cult
on
classic.
Chicken.
The cult classic is Gold Star. Gold Star's been like the OG chicken killer from day one. Most of my 180s are in chicken with Gold Star chicken. But yeah, Jolly Roger, we got those 2 ones, and I have two. He talked about the apple cherry sauce. I had a co-packer here in Phoenix for a long time, but when Old World Spices, they bought Head Country. So they became a co-packer as well of sauces. So when that happened, I converged everything so they can distribute for me as well. And I wanted to reformulate my sauces for a little different texture. I wanted a little more thinner base. And it was an amazing time to do that.
Silkier, yeah.
Exactly. Just a little better mouthfeel. And, everybody's co-packering base, their ketchup base is kind of different based off the tomatoes and ketchup and all that shit they use. So it really worked out well to go with Old World and to be able to distribute. So that sauce was doing amazing. But something I'm working on right now and developing, and we've been in some development with, is a poultry and pork brine. So it's going to be a nice little brine that I'm working on. It's not going to have any phosphates. It's going to be that salt forward, but all really flavorful. I want to stay away from kind of some of the phosphates, which I don't mind them in barbecue. I use them all the time. I'm not talking shit about them because I'll throw a little extra in my injections. But in my brine, I just didn't want that in there. But it's clean. It's a great product. And I've been cooking a lot of chicken recently, and always trying to get that timeline down for, really the concentration of the liquid and the time that I'm brining. I'm kind of working on that, saltier, less time, or less salty and a little more brine of what my balance is. So I've been doing a lot of cooking chicken, and I actually got some chicken in the oven right now.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. And then also,
it's been going amazing, and to be able to have a distributor like Whole World Spices, and to be able to, have all the other world champions and all those gats that, I think we all support each other and we kind of embrace each other. And a lot of us were recently at the Ace Show Hardware in San Antonio, and we were doing samples, and we all had a great time. We had a blast being with each other. A lot of people think this is, we're in competition with each other, but a lot of us support each other. We do classes with each other. Ferg and I have some events coming up. We've done some in the past, so it's really cool to all get along and all help support and grow each other.
Hell yeah. And then you also got this.
Oh yeah, that I kind of man, I can barely read. I wrote 2 books, which is kind of crazy, but that was cool. So that was during COVID, which was great timing. What happened? Like, this is March of 2020. I was in where was I? Melbourne for Meat Stock, and I taught a class. And then the next day we were setting up for the event, and we heard the organizers come through. Hey, apparently there's worldwide pandemic going on. We're not sure if we can hold the event. Hold still, wait.
Yeah.
Kind of chill out for a minute. They say, okay, the event's on, not the social event where everybody's going to come in, but the competition's on. So, oh, great, let's set up. Then half an hour they come and say, you know what, actually, everything's closed. If you're not from Australia, you should probably get on a flight soon. And so
to be able to get out.
Yeah, board night out where they're out there. So Eric and Candace and Alan and his wife were there. So we were on the next flight out, I think the next day. We got one of the last flights out of there to America. So during that time, this publishing company reached out to me about this book. So it gave me time since I was home. A lot of classes, events, stopped, So you know what? Let's write a book. So it was really cool to do some development of some backyard recipes and things that I did before I got into comp barbecue. Just cooking OG cool stuff.
Yeah.
And I love the comp because that's kind of like my getaway. It's kind of like my Bob Ross painting, and I get to paint a canvas and put my love into it and give them the best representation of competition barbecue, which isn't necessarily what I'm going to eat or what I want to eat in my backyard, but to me, it's my job to give in that. And that's, what I really love about that, because it takes me out of that headset and mindset and puts me in that mode of being perfect, giving them perfection, attention to detail,
Yep.
Well, I don't know where we're going this, but
no, it's all good. No, we're just asking about products, but what I want to kind of dive into a little bit is, dude, I haven't been doing great on chicken. Let's talk through some competition chicken, because I know
what's a question? What's a question anybody has? So this way, so people reach out and be like, okay, talk to me about chicken. I'm like, I can't. Ask me a question. If you ask me a question, I'll answer it.
So how do you? Let's start that. How do you get as much flavor into chicken as possible?
We just talked about this. Chicken is one of the blandest proteins that we have.
Except flavor's nice.
Hardwood. Boil a piece and eat it. It tastes like nothing. It tastes like water. So Gabe, my homie. Brining. We just talked about that. Having that time to have that pH balance between the proteins themselves and the salinity concentration that you have, being able to marry, go in, absorb, bring it in. Then you have injections. Obviously, I'll talk about injections. So injection is putting that flavor into it. You got to have, I think, a little bit of both. I do both. I brine. I'll give it a little pop in the morning. I think, we all talk about, and I talk about this in classes. It's one bite mostly. Barbecue. I had somebody listen to my podcast. Like, I'm a judge. Sometimes I take 2 bites. I'm like, well, okay. Mostly, you're gonna take 1 bite, kind of go from there. Maybe 2, and I get it. But it's that boom. It's got to have that flavor in it. Chicken doesn't. I think it sets you off too, man. You get a base hit in chicken, you're ready for that comp. You don't get that call in chicken, it's hard to come back. So getting flavor into it, I think it takes brine, it takes injection, it takes good seasoning. Gold Star has been doing amazing. And then you got to get that sauce at the end. I think it's a balance of everything, a balance of all that.
Right. Jordan.
No injection, brine overnight or 4-hour max. Jordan asks. So the question on the brine, I've been working on that. I've been working on either a 4 or 6-hour brine, depending on the concentration of my solution. And then, usually once I wake up in the morning after I put brisket on and pork, and I've had a latte from my machine, I've chilled out a little bit. Boom, I'll pull chicken out and pop it. Put it back in an aluminum pan, throw it in the fridge, and wait until I season it a little bit later.
And then as the flavor profile, what are you really reaching for in chicken? Is it more of just like that generic chicken flavor, or are you adding more like sweet to it, heat? Where's the flavor profile that you're obviously you don't even give it your comp recipe out, but just
I'll say it. And I think I heard somebody say it on another thread that I was looking at. And it was Joe from Cherry Anchor Barbecue. I don't know if you listened, but he said make it taste like KFC and then put some sauce on it. And KFC is a great flavor. It's herby, it's salty. There's 11 herbs and spices. And my Gold Star is very, very. If you mix it with that Greek seasoning, I forget what it's called. There's a Greek seasoning, very famous Greek seasoning. Not Zatarins, but you mix that together and a little bit of flour, you got OG KFC. But I think it's about flavoring that chicken, getting it in there, and then getting a sauce on there. I'd rather turn it in without sauce, but we're not cooking for us. Get a
Right.
balance sauce on there. We all know it. If I like my apple cherry on there, it's got a little bit of that back end vinegar. It's got that sweet notes. We all know Blues Hog is a base in comp barbecue. You cut anything with a little bit of Blues Hog, it's got that shine, consistency. It gives you that little tamarind, action, which Blues Hog, which is amazing. I love the product. I love Tim. I'm actually sponsored with charcoal by Tim and Terry. Shout out to them. And awesome, you see the race car they had. Isn't it cool? Like seeing small businesses do cool stuff like that.
Right.
See,
very cool.
Be successful. So yeah, I've been using a lot of my sauces, and then it's never a bad idea to throw a little bit of Blues Hog, mix it in, set that sauce, and you go from there. But I think what judges are looking for is balance. You talked about that spiciness, that sweet, and I think it's an overused word, balance. What is it? I mean, does it taste good? Did you taste it and be like, all right, that's barbecue? Or you just
Do you
taste
want
it
more
say,
of it?
It's a little spicy. It's a little sweet. Or did you just taste it and be like, man, that's good. I have no complaints. And I think on chicken, a lot of what it came down to recently is pushing that temperature up a little bit more. Just thinking up a little bit more. Just push.
It's not 158. It's not 160 anymore.
Not even close.
Yeah.
Not close, man. You're taking that thing to the moon.
Really? You really are.
So what do you like cooking now for chicken? I've been seeing a lot of wings out there, and comps usually been thighs, and then see a lot of legs lately. But wings are blowing up.
There was the thigh and the wing combo for a long time. I still see a lot of cats doing that. I'm okay right now, babe. But so I was on a mission like a couple years ago to be like, you know what? I'm throwing wings. I'm gonna see what happens. I threw them out there. I got to call it the Royal and wings. At the Vegas comp, I didn't get first in chicken, but I got a 180 in chicken wings, and that was my third. I got a 180 in legs, thighs and wings, and now just wings. So I think after that, I was like, you know what? And there was like a 5th or 6th place 180, which is kind of crazy. Like, oh shit.
It's kind of rough.
Cats.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. But I think after that, I was like, you know what? I think I did what I needed to do in wings. So I went back to legs last couple comps. And wings were either a hit or miss thing. They were hitting at the beginning. And then I think a lot of, I don't know, they just got off track. Hit that 180. I said, you know what? I proved my point. I'm out of here. I went back to legs. Nice. And, I went back to just trying to hit base hits, in these comps. I'm not trying to go for a grand slam anymore. Let's get some base hits. Base hits win the game every time. Yep. So give them a good leg. I like legs because the skin goes all around it. It's more than likely, if you're pushing that temperature up, that bite, that skin's going to be just like butter. It's going to melt in your mouth. I don't think there's as much time invested in trimming a leg as I do a thigh. Right. Wings are wings, boom. I love trimming wings. They were the easiest. Do what I do, boom, they were out. And it wasn't as gross. I didn't feel like I needed to shower.
Biggest thing is finding some great big flat. Big flats.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'll get, like 2 of the 13 packs, and it's the fully jointed, the tip, the flat, and the drum. And I'd trim that flat out. And then I'd pretty much trim them all out, and then I'm bringing the biggest 18.
Yeah,
turning in the biggest 10 to 12, depending on what box I'm running with and how the wings look. But yeah, I'm getting the biggest of the best because, we talked about one bite, but I want it to be a substantial.
Yep, could have some meat on it.
Yeah, not give them this tiny little thing that they have to fucking. How do I find meat?
Suck the whole thing off.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that thing's gonna be 210 degrees. It's gonna be like butter in their mouth. I mean,
Yep.
Yeah. So were you just turning flats in, or were you doing the drummies as well?
Oh no, I think the flats are a better bite when you cook them right. Sometimes those drummies are like a mini leg. All that connective little tissue. It's the same thing. It's multiple muscle groups connected to an end tendon. So you got to think about all those tendons on there. You grab a drummy. Sometimes it pulls wrong. To me, part of what I talk about in classes is think about how they're going to bite it. Think about that. Put that into your perspective on the judge's side. Make it easy for them to eat your food. Don't make them think about it. Like, oh, where do I eat this fucking thing? What am I looking at? Don't do that.
The
look
The
at
thumb's
it, bite, and then go.
gonna be in the little pocket. The thumb's gonna be in the little pocket. They're gonna bite the backside of that wing every time.
And they're going to do that. And then the way you present it, I usually put the fattest ones to the right side because most people, I ask this question in classes, how many people are right-handed? Usually like over 80%, 85, 90% are right-handed. If you look at that box, you're going to reach in with your right hand. I want those first fat ones right there. Boom. Because I'll put a 12. I got 6 judges. They'll probably only get 1. So I present them in a certain way where I want the judges to eat as well.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's a great tip. That is a great tip. Yeah, I've never thought about that because I've always wondered that even on a pork box. Where do I put my money muscle? Yeah,
go into that judge head real quick. Every time I'm building a box, I'm going to that judge head and being like, okay, where's it gonna? It's a no-brainer. They're just gonna grab it from this. I don't want them to be like, oh shit, what the fuck's going on here? It's a maze. To figure out what the fuck. It's easy for you to grab. They don't have to think about it. I'm giving you this option, that option. You can clearly see that. And that's what it is.
And always giving that last judge an option. So don't ever put 6 of anything in a box. You got to give them that last judge a couple of options.
If it ain't banging, don't put it on the box. Yeah. I'm guilty of that many times.
Do you feel like kind of what Jesse's saying, a full box is a good box?
If I can make it a full based off of the product and I touch it and I feel it and I think it's
the product's right. Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. If the product's right, fill that thing up. Make it. If I can do a heavy pork box, and I got some money and some chunks and it pulls and it all tastes amazing. It's butter. Make that thing and it holds temp well when you got a big full box. And then, especially if you're depending on what you're turning in. Man, you're gonna have a lot of more thermodynamic heat in that box than like 6 pieces of money muscle.
Yeah, that's one of the best tips I've ever heard from one of the greats is Tuffy Stone. He said whenever you're practicing at home, taste your barbecue cold because after it sits there, especially if you're in the 6th spot, it's gonna be cold.
It is 100%.
Yeah,
or room temperature at best.
Yeah, exactly. So he said, just taste it cold, and just see what it tastes like.
Put your piece out there. Yeah, you could taste your flavor and salt and put it in there, but leave another piece. Go to your next box, do that, and before you taste it, go back on that table, take a bite of that, and see what it is.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Tender.
Yeah, exactly. And it's just pro tips like that, and it's the things you learn over time. Like you said, you started cooking in 2009.
Yeah, man.
That's 10-year jump before even I got into the game thinking about it, so or I guess probably.
But, this was also in the day when it was right before barbecue pitmasters came out.
Yeah, nobody tell you secrets, huh?
Nobody's doing classes. Nobody's gonna be like, hey, come over and look at this, man. Everybody was shutting down.
There wasn't YouTube either.
Yeah.
There was no YouTube. You had to figure it out, man. You had to get in your backyard and cook. And when I really wanted to learn chicken a long time ago, because it was killing me. The skins are killing me. I didn't know what the whole thing. Everybody told you had to do thighs. You had to do that. Casey Best said that, apparently. But, they didn't. But you just swim with the salmon. They're doing this. I'm going to do it.
I guess the only resource you really had was the form of the smoking ring, and that you would. That was just all rough. Everybody's just telling you
ring.
A little bit. You have to take 7 feeds and put them all together to figure out.
Oh my god! And there's like so many like weird threads you'd have to go into. And I'm like, I ain't got time for this actually. Barbecue Brethren. I'd go into some Barbecue Brethren.
Oh yeah.
I met Todd Johns through Barbecue Brethren. He hooked me up with a smoker for. Told you that 2007 was the first year we didn't know what we were doing. We did it 2008 and 2009 as Loot N Booty BBQ before I competed as a pro event. I did that as Loot N Booty BBQ, and it was May. It was always May. So May is 2009, and Todd John brought me a smoker to use and some wood. He was on Barbecue Brother, and I didn't know him from a hole in the wall. And he's American Royal Champion. He's got Plowboys out there, and so that was one of our OG stories. Like, man, he brought me a cool rotisserie smoker to use when I was just trying to fly in and figure it out.
Right. Yeah. And I think
so cool.
Yeah, and I think that show really busted the door open for barbecue, especially competitive barbecue, because, like you said, it was very secretive. But then you got these guys like Tuffy Stone, Harry Sue, Dan Whip, and all these guys.
Cat cooking chicken thighs in a muffin pan, and you're like, what is this cat?
Myra,
what?
Right?
Yeah, you're
round
like,
chicken.
We didn't even know.
Round chicken thighs.
These are things you can do. I didn't even know you can do this.
Yeah, and I think that really busted their door open because everybody's holding those secrets tight.
Yeah,
But from rumors, I haven't ever confirmed it because he's never been on the show. But Myron just said that he did that for the show just to see what the hell happened. I don't know. That's just what I've heard.
Oh, no, I think he really did that. I've seen him cook, and he has those he has those muffin pans.
Yeah,
he was my
Johnny
neighbor
Trick-
at Jack a couple years ago. Great
Yeah,
dude.
Johnny Trigg told all over him. He said he was doing that before anybody knew anything.
Oh yeah, he was. I'm sure all these cats. We think we got all these tricks and shit. These cats are doing this way before we even
Old school,
even thought about it. But yeah, you're right. Some old school stuff. But I think competition barbecue obviously has morphed a lot since then. It's changed a lot. We see all the drum smokers coming to play. We see a lot of hot and fast action. A lot of that has really taken over. But I mean, at the end of the day, I still love it. I still love doing it. I'm still signed up for several events. We got some coming up. I got a lot of classes signed up, and I got some events mixed in.
Yep. Yeah.
Where can people find your classes?
All right, so let's talk about it. This weekend, I'm actually flying to Brainerd, Minnesota, Smokestack Barbecue Supply. We have a sold-out class on Sunday. We're doing a GMG backyard class. We got backyard brisket. We're doing some tri-tip. We're doing some sweet and spicy salmon, all on the GMG. Maybe break out the gateway drum, do a couple cool things. That's on Sunday, the class. But on Saturday, me and David Ellis from Machete Boys are doing some demos at their new location. And I don't want to mess it up. I think it's called Nisswa, Minnesota. And so we're going to be doing some carne asada tacos, some pizza, hang out, talk to people. That's this weekend. Following weekend, which is really cool about barbecue and what I've been, really happy and amazing to be able to see is to take my family and involve them in what I do in barbecue. So following weekend, we fly to New Zealand, Auckland, New Zealand.
Oh,
and Molly
love Auckland.
Yeah, I love it. Well, actually, I don't know because I've never been there. It's a new country.
That's awesome.
Actually, I've been there for a layover, but I didn't step outside the airport, so that doesn't count. Been to Australia 12 times now, but this will be our first time in New Zealand. Get to teach a class with my good friend Stephen Cook from Cook Cartel. We're doing a 4-meat competition barbecue master class. I'm teaching chicken wings. One of the only classes doing chicken wings, and I'm doing ribs, and he's doing big meats, and that's on Wednesday night. Then after that, Thursday, we head up to a place called Wangato Harbor for Smoke on the Coast, and we're going to compete in a New Zealand SCA event on Friday. And Saturday, we're going to do a New Zealand barbecue event, chicken, ribs, pork, and brisket. I've never done a zoo. I think I've competed in close to 9 different sanctioning bodies. I think this will be my 9th or 10th sanctioning body. Wow. And we're going to do that on Saturday, spend a couple of days, fly home. And so that's coming up. Man, what else is next? May, competition in Temecula, California. I'm going to head out for. My son is graduating high school, which is awesome to see.
That's awesome.
In cool. Mid-May, so we're going to do some graduation stuff for him. And then the weekend after that, there's a double comp in Norco, California. I've done for several years. I'll go out and do that in May. It really gets busy in July, which is really cool. We have an awesome family trip planned July 4th weekend. And after that, I've been invited by the Croatian Barbecue Association in Zagreb to teach a class and promote and cook for some CBJ classes that they're getting more KCBS stuff involved. So I'm doing some KCBS ambassadorship, international ambassadorship, teaching a class in Zagreb, Croatia, July.
So cool.
Yeah, man, that's kind of crazy. Yeah. That's the 7th through the 17th. Then after that, Molly and I are headed to Hawaii to cook in the Curly Q Classic. This is a year of new things.
Right. That's awesome.
A lot of new events, new classes, New Zealand, new Croatia. We're going to go to Hawaii. We've never competed in Hawaii. We love seeing our friends, Crash and Lisa from the Hawaii Barbecue Association, BRM Pit Crew. We're going to cook in Hawaii for the first time. And then, man, just all kind of cool shit. I'm excited for Hawaii. I'm excited for Croatia, New Zealand, all these amazing places. And then when I get back from Hawaii, Molly and I have a class with my buddy Fergie Ferg. We're teaching a class back at Megabyte Barbecue in Winter Garden, Florida. We have a big meats class, competition pork and brisket. The Ferg and Booty or Loot and Ferg show, whatever you want to call it, is back. Better than ever. We love going to Florida to cook. We love all the people down there. They're amazing. So check us out there. And then from there, man, we got our son, man, at ASU. He's going to be in the marching band. I'm excited to go to some games and see him do well. That's my alumni as well. I graduated from the WP Carey School of Business with a finance degree, and he got accepted there, and he's looking forward to doing the same thing. So it's really cool to see him do that as well.
That's cool.
Awesome. And then also one thing you forgot in your lineup is you can finish watching this podcast and then boom, Barbecue Champs Academy, and you can go take a class tonight.
The cool thing about those classes is you can be in your pajamas, be at home, take notes. Hey, I missed that. Rewind. Go see it. You can cook along with it. Hey, stop. He did this. I'm gonna do that. Play. Stop. You can do that for the whole time. You have it for infinity. You can do that.
Yeah.
What kind of chicken did you teach in that?
I did
herb roasted chicken.
It's a beer can. No, I actually did legs and I did thighs. I did he wanted me to show a little thigh process too, so it was a little backyard version of thighs, but it was the same thing of what I do because I'm in there, I'm in the moment. I'm gonna show people what I do, so you get legs and thighs with that.
Nice.
Very cool.
Looks like you have 20 classes under there. Is that correct? That's what I'm seeing.
I don't know if it's actually you may be correct because chicken has like 7 or 6.
Yeah.
Ribs has like 5. You know what I'm saying? They each have like several units within that. But when you buy that class, you get all the units. You can buy it all together. You can buy individual ones. Obviously, you buy it all together. It's a better deal for you. I got something cool for you. If you use the code Smith20, pretty sure it still works. You get 20% off these classes. If it doesn't work and you try to email me at my website, and I'll make sure I get you 20% off.
Heck yeah. Well, cool, man.
Got the hookup.
Yeah, you got the.
I know a guy who knows a guy.
Yeah.
I know a guy. Yep.
The Oz behind the curtain.
Right, exactly. Well, it's been a pleasure having you on, man. Let's just get to the point of where people can contact you, follow you, and make purchases as well.
Yeah, absolutely. My website's www.lootn, it's in November, bootybbq.com. On Facebook, Loot N Booty BBQ, and Instagram as well, Loot N Booty BBQ. Saw my boy Derek show up. What's up, homie? Nice to see you. But yeah, follow me on there. You'll see some classes come up. I'll post some stuff about competitions coming soon. All the ambassador stuff we're doing in Croatia for KCBS and to bring barbecue over there and to spread barbecue love, and some cool stuff in New Zealand. So I can't wait for all this stuff to start popping.
Well, and we're going to do a class at Pitmaster.
A year of new stuff
this fall.
Yeah,
hey, I've never done that. That's something new.
Bringing Loot N Booty into town, baby.
Well, we're going to be at Pitmaster Barbecue Supply Company. Probably let's talk about it. November, December time frame. We'll make something happen.
Sometime in the fourth quarter, right?
I'm down.
Let's
We
do
talked
this.
about rib class, prime rib, little comp ribs. Let's see what happens.
Beef rib.
Let's suss it out.
Sauce it out. I like that. Well, cool, man. Cool. Well, thank you so much for taking your time to hang out with us tonight, and we appreciate it. And yeah, we'll hopefully get that class locked down, and we'll see you this fall.
Yeah, I always love coming out. Thank you guys for having me on. I've been on the show before. I always love coming out, talking to you guys, and seeing you on the comp trail. And hope to see you soon.
Yeah.
Thanks, Smitty. Appreciate you, pal.
Thanks, guys.
Right, guys. Yeah. Peace.
Peace.